Welcome to this explainer. Let's just dive right in and explore how traditional Japanese culture views longevity. You know, in the West, we're constantly bombarded with these desperate biohacking formulas and really aggressive anti-aging regimens. But what if we looked at exceptional health, not as this exhausting war to be won, but as a beautiful, natural byproduct of a balanced life?
So the foundational idea we're starting with today is this incredibly arresting quote from our sources. Aging is inevitable, but rusting is not. I mean, think about that. Rust only happens when movement stops, when our natural rhythms are completely ignored, and when we postpone caring for ourselves. It's a total paradigm shift that changes absolutely everything about how we approach getting older.
And this idea brilliantly illustrates the contrast we're talking about. In the West, we often view aging as a battle to be fought, basically treating the body like a machine that's just destined to break down. But the Japanese perspective? It treats the body more like a garden to be carefully tended. They view aging as a refined skill to be mastered, not some kind of disease to be cured.
Here's a quick look at our agenda for today's journey. First, the longevity byproduct. Second, nourishment and mindful movement. Third, finding strength in imperfection. Fourth, nature, rest, and community. And fifth, your reason to wake up.
Section 1. The longevity byproduct. Health as a side effect.
You know, in Japan, this concept of simplicity just kind of permeates everything. Longevity isn't forced. It's viewed as a natural byproduct of balance, simplicity, and presence. Shedding excess physical and mental clutter drastically reduces the heavy emotional weight of anxiety. When you own less and clear out your mental space, you literally remove the friction from your days. It frees up your energy to actually live in the present moment, which turns good health into this beautiful side effect of a well-curated lifestyle.
Moving right along to Section 2, nourishment and mindful movement, fueling the body without force.
Have you ever heard of Harahachibu? It's the ancient practice of eating until you're only about 80% full. See, your brain actually takes around 20 minutes to even register that you've had enough to eat. So by intentionally leaving a 20% empty space in your stomach, you completely avoid systemic inflammation. Instead of wasting all your vital energy on heavy digestion, which really strains and overheats your system, you preserve that energy for actually living your life.
And obviously, it's not just about how much you eat, but what you eat. Rather than fixating on strict, restrictive diets, Japanese meals focus on Go-shiki, or the 5 colors of a meal: white, black, red, yellow, and green. It's such a brilliant, simple way to ensure nutrient diversity. For example, they consume a staggering 14 grams of nutrient-dense seaweed every single day. To put that into perspective, that's literally more than 10 times what Americans eat in an entire week. This kind of colorful diversity naturally feeds different organ systems and keeps your gut microbiome super happy.
Now get this staggering metric. Japanese elders average about 7.4 hours of light daily movement. Compare that to just 4 hours in the US. And how do they do it? They achieve this massive difference simply by standing during chores, skipping elevators, and utilizing floor-level furniture. It's this subtle, continuous effort that prevents age-related muscle loss just by keeping the body vertical and engaged throughout the day.
And to kickstart all that daily movement, they have Ragyo Taiso. Practiced for over 90 years, this gentle morning stretching ritual is incredibly simple. You just play the radio broadcast at 6:30 a.m., stand, breathe intentionally, and perform about 3 minutes of compound stretches. It acts as a biological switch. It improves joint fluidity and wakes up your nervous system for the day. And you get all of that without the need for some punishing, exhausted boot camp.
All right, Section 3, finding strength in imperfection. The mindset of resilience.
First up here is Wabi-sabi. Basically, it's the philosophy of finding beauty in things that are impermanent, incomplete, and imperfect. Instead of the exhausting Western pursuit of flawless perfection, the airbrush photos, the completely spotless homes, this mindset teaches us that wrinkles and physical changes aren't defeats. Not at all. They're beautiful proof of a life well lived. It just takes so much pressure off the natural process of aging.
Then there's Kintsugi. This is the art of repairing broken pottery with gold lacquer, treating the breakage as part of the object's rich history rather than a flaw you need to somehow hide. This is such a profoundly powerful metaphor for our own lives, right? Our hardships, illnesses, and struggles, they don't break us. Actually, scratch that, they transform us. When we repair ourselves, those golden cracks make us into something so much stronger and far more fascinating than we were before.
And to continually grow throughout all of this, we have Kaizen. This is the practice of continuous, tiny, almost invisible daily improvements.
Think about it. Making just a 1% improvement every day completely removes the friction from starting new healthy habits. You don't need a massive, super stressful New Year's resolution. Whether it's doing literally one single push-up or reading just one page of a book, Kaizen proves that tiny intentional choices will radically change your life over time.
Which brings us to Section 4, Nature, Rest, and Community, Recharging the Soul.
Let's talk about Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing. The rules are simple. You enter nature with absolutely no digital distractions, you walk slowly and aimlessly, and you breathe deeply. This mindful immersion in nature is literally prescribed by Japanese doctors. Why? Because trees release these compounds called phytoncides, and breathing them in measurably drops your cortisol, lowers your blood pressure, and shifts your body out of fight or flight and into a deep restorative repair mode.
And speaking of resting the nervous system, 12 minutes. That's the magic number. That is the exact length of a strategic inamuri upright nap. In Japan, this is a culturally respected pause, often done sitting right in a chair at work or on a train. Research shows that just 12 minutes of this intentional rest boosts working memory in older adults by a whopping 28%, completely avoiding that awful grogginess you get from falling into a deep sleep cycle.
Another completely incredible recovery tool is Ashu, which is a restorative foot bath. Done right before bed, you just soak your feet in hot water up to the ankles, toss in some yuzu peel or Epsom salts, and rest in total silence for 15 minutes. This incredibly simple foot soak draws blood flow entirely away from an overthinking, stressed-out brain. It signals the body to drop its core temperature, initiating a deep, restorative sleep that's honestly often better than many medications.
But health isn't just a physical thing, right? It's deeply, deeply social. And that brings us to the Moai, a committed, lifelong support group that shares both your celebrations and your burdens. Science clearly shows that feeling invisible and isolated ages the body significantly faster than just living alone. Maintaining these deep community ties ensures you always have a place where you truly matter, and that anchors your nervous system in a state of safety.
Finally, Section 5, your reason to wake up, the core of longevity.
And that core concept is Ikigai. It translates essentially to your personal reason for being, the simple, daily purpose that actually gets you out of bed in the morning. And it absolutely doesn't have to be some grand world-changing legacy. Your Ikigai can be as modest as tending to your garden, making breakfast for your family, or mastering a small hobby. It's really just about finding quiet pride in your daily routines.
So, how do you find yours? Well, discovering your Ikigai definitely requires some self-reflection. Ask yourself, what activities make you completely lose track of time? What gives you energy on a particularly difficult day? How are you useful to the people around you? When you start finding the answers to these questions, your brain literally releases feel-good chemicals that boost your immune system. Why? Because your body knows it has a real, tangible reason to stay vibrant.
As we wrap up this explainer today, I really want you to reflect on everything we've just covered. From mindful movement and an 80% full stomach to finding true beauty in your scars, it all comes back to this. Find your personal anchor. Ask yourself, what is your Ikigai? What simple, beautiful reason is going to get you out of bed tomorrow?